Off the Wall, and Prince's 1999, failing to be nominated, which is just... Have you heard 1999? It's called Matt's Matters, because it matters. You heard? Well, hear it. Right here, every week on Matt's Matters. What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 7 of the Matt's Matters podcast. I'm your host, or talk show. I'm your host because we're talking and it's a show. I'm not new to this, I'm true to this. But anyways, welcome to episode 7 of the Matt's Matters talk show. And shout out to everybody who watched the last episode. It was a really great episode. My friend William came on and he talked about his train traveling experience from Minneapolis, Minnesota to all the way to San Francisco, which that's just, 3 months, 10 G's, like he just saved up his money and he did it. And the key message that I took away from that is it's anything you want to do is doable. You just got to grind it out, get your money up, and you can do it. It seemed like it was a life-changing experience for him, so that was just very cool, because I don't remember if I left it in there, but he said that he's a very private person, and he's never really shared so many details about his trip, like, over the internet. So shout out to him for feeling comfortable enough to do that with us, and it was pretty cool to hear about, honestly. But anyway, so a few weeks ago, the Grammys happened, and there's a lot of, there's always, when they do their little acceptance speech, there's always a lot of, like, political things like that, but we're going to talk about the historically worst snubbings of the Grammys, the dark history of the Grammys, because now the Grammys is all kind of like merry and happy, and we just accept our awards and do this and do that. But we're going to talk about some of the key moments in the Grammys that have kind of caused a lot of backlash. So, there's a lot to start, 14 Grammys. And in terms of music, like, I do love music, of course. But the history of music is, I'm still trying to become more knowledgeable in, because there's, music has a very rich history. And there's just so many, like, songs from back before I was born, my parents were born, like, before a lot of us were born. That there's just, like, imagine if you spent every day listening to a new song, like, you wouldn't even be able to listen to a new album every day. Like, you'd be dead. You'd probably be dead by the time you would be able to do that, just because there's so much music out there. Music is a beautiful thing. Like, there's those people that be like, well, I don't really listen to music. Come and look at me in the camera and tell me that there's not something wrong with someone who doesn't listen to music. Like, there's so many genres of music, and you're telling me that there's not one genre of music that you like. Like, are your ears broken? At least please tell me that you, like, read or watch a show or something. But if you're not not listening to any music, like, if someone puts music on, are you just gonna be like, hey, I don't listen to music, could you please turn that off for me? I'd be like, get out, break it, and you get out my car, man, because you're really on one, you're really tripping. So let's start with the 2014 Grammys. Was considered the most significant 2014 Grammy snub was Macklemore and Ryan Lewis winning Best Rap Album over critically acclaimed Good Kid, Mad City. This duo also swept other rap categories, promoting Macklemore to send a public text to Kendrick Lamar saying he robbed him. So, like, obviously the artists don't vote on the freaking Grammys. It's like the freaking recording, whatever, the group, the freaking recording artist, whatever thing that just votes on the people. So if the artist is saying, like, hey, man, I got snubbed, and here's the thing, the organization does not tell us what music is popular. The streets tell us what music really deserves an award. And if you got the street credit for your music, then that's to me, that's more important than the Grammy. I'm not a musician, but that's just what I would kind of say, in my opinion. Like, if the streets love my music, I don't need some freaking people in suits and ties to vote on it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so let's get into this. Black artists who have been snubbed. It's black and female artists that have been snubbed historically in the Grammys. So obviously, yeah, that was a big one. So it was the best rap album. But there were some great albums that year. We had Mad City, Kendrick Lamar, Kanye West, Nothing Was the Same, Drake. I'm not really a big Drake fan, but And I actually watched a funny video. There was like 5 Drake fans and 1 Kendrick fan, and they had to guess who the Kendrick fan was. It was actually pretty funny, so you guys should watch that video. So yeah, I mean, there's been, I mean, obviously, like, you know, everyone's like, well, why do we always have to make everything about race? Because that is the country we live in. Because the freaking United States created racism, so that's what we're living in right now. So there's been a lot of snubs, not just black artists, but every type of artist. But it seems like it's more common for black artists to get snubbed than white artists and female artists as well. I talked about this a couple weeks ago when it was first kind of fresh in my mind. I was going to talk about something else today, but I was like, you know what, not even going to bother. So let's get into the dark history of the Grammys. So we're still in 2014, obviously. Where's this? A classic hip-hop station, Hot 97, New York station. There's a lot of memes from them and a lot of historical things. So this is the realness racism at the Grammys. This is from January 27th, 2014.
The realness.
That's what it is.
The realness.
And our guy Rosenberg's about to kick it real and spit some venom. And yes, I said kick it real like it's 1991.
What? Guys, it's moments like this where I am embarrassed to be white. It's one of those moments where I'm embarrassed to be white. For the record, this is not a dig at Macklemore. That is my guy personally, musically. I think he's dope. And I think he had bigger songs than Kendrick Lamar. Thrift Shop, Can't Hold Us, and Saying Love. Kendrick did not have a song as big as those songs. That's a fact. But the fact that Kendrick Lamar won nothing at the Grammys disgusts me. Anyone who follows hip-hop seriously whatsoever knows Kendrick Lamar made the best album of last year and arguably of the last 5 or 10 years. Now, do I think voters blatantly said I refuse to vote for a black man? No, that is not what I think happened. However, we need to look at the facts. When white men are nominated in this category, they win. Kanye said it. He's never won a Grammy if he's up against Eminem. And that's coming from a guy who's won 20-some Grammys. But if he's up against Eminem, it cannot happen, no matter what. So, do I think that there's a racist conspiracy? No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying, isn't it sad that 20-some years after rap is a category in the Grammys, if a white guy is nominated, he always wins? It's effing depressing. Kendrick Lamar had the best rap album. Kendrick Lamar was the best new artist. Macklemore had amazing songs, but he should not have won those categories.
And Macklemore agrees. He actually put out a statement or a tweet or something last night, didn't he?
Oh.
Laura Styles?
Yeah, he did. He was taking screenshots of the text messages between him and Kendrick Lamar.
He understands what's up. Macklemore's someone who and matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to try to call Macklemore. Because I feel like the only other white guy who could be as disgusted and upset as I am today is Macklemore himself. So I'm going to try to get Macklemore on the phone and see if we can't get him to talk about this issue.
I haven't really figured out what my opinion is. Because Hove won a Grammy last night. Our guy Pharrell won a Grammy last night. There was a lot of Grammys that went around to a lot of people in hip-hop. Sife, you got to turn your mic on.
Everybody in our category that won an award was with a white person. Because Hove won with Justin Timberlake. Pharrell won with Daft Punk and Robin Thicke. What's going on?
Sife, you just added another layer, my G.
Where we at?
Talk to him, Sife. Talk that talk.
That's all I got.
Yeah, shout out to Hot 97. Still on to this day. Classic radio station. But yeah, so he was kind of saying, like, how, it's not like black people don't win Grammys. It's just there's certain categories where it seems that they're underrepresented. So obviously, 2014 Grammys was one of like the more recent and controversial ones which happened. But let's go back. We gotta go back. You gotta go back to the beginning to know if there's repeating. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, this dude spits straight bars.
Here. So the Grammys obviously started in 1957. Critics often highlight a history of black artists, particularly in the genre-specific categories, being overlooked for major genre awards. Album, Records of the Year, Song of the Year, and we're going to break all this down anyway. So if you're not familiar with the voting process, the structure and composition of the voting body, the Recording Academy, that's what they're freaking called, the Recording Academy, have been criticized for lacking diversity, leading to systemic bias in nominations and wins. So genre ghettoization. Black artists frequently dominate R&B, rap, and soul categories, but are historically excluded from top-tier awards, a trend often described as segregating black music according to reports. So controversial results, while various years have highlighted the gargling disparities where critically acclaimed black albums lost to less impactful mainstream white artists, sparking public outcry and accusations of racism. Stuff to kind of, there's a lot of information out there. Honestly, freaking Google, ever since AI and everything has been integrated into these search engines, it's so hard to find freaking articles. Because now it just gives you the AI overview, and then when you click on the source where they get this information from, it takes you to an article that says something totally different. So when you're doing research for a paper now, which do people even write papers anymore, make sure that you're actually doing, like, go on like a scholarly website, like you can find like scholarly articles and stuff like that. So, and Wikipedia is good too. Like, Wikipedia is pretty reliable, I would say, because they post, if you scroll to the bottom of the Wikipedia page, they show all their references that they have on here, which, I mean, you guys should know that by now. But so the Grammy Award is presented by the Recording Academy. It is an award that recognizes achievement with all its facets of the music industry. It covers all major genres and recognizes the performance of albums, songs, songwriting, and new artists. Criticism of the Grammys have covered various aspects, with accusation of racial bias by media outlets and fans having been brought up for decades. So since the inception of the Grammys in 1957, only 12 black artists have won the Album of the Year awards. Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, Lionel Richie, Quincy Jones, Natalie Cole, Whitney Houston, Lauryn Hill, Cass, Ray Charles, and Beyonce. So, obviously, there's another article I saw that says, is the Grammys racist? And basically the article came to the conclusion that no, it's not. It's just based off personal preference, because, I don't know, like the freaking diversity numbers at the recording studios, the people who vote on this. But if it's run by a majority of white people, they're going to have more of a preference towards white artists when they're deciding to vote on these things. So one of the other biggest ones besides 2014, so basically from 2012 to 2020, statistics show that black artists received only 26.7% of nominations for the award show, while they represented over 38% of all artists on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 chart. There have been several best album wins that have been questioned, including Beyonce's self-titled album Lost in 2015 to Beck's Morning Phrase Album of the Year, and then Lemonade 2014 lost to Adele 25, and Renaissance 2023 lost to Harry Styles' Harry's House. Other cited examples include Michael Jackson's Off the Wall and Prince's 1999 failing to be nominated, which is just, have you heard 1999 and Michael Jackson Off the Wall? Those are those are probably two of the best albums, and they lost. They didn't even get nominated. Like, that's just crazy. So Frank Ocean, Chanel's Orange, losing to Mumford & Sons, Babel. Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City losing to the Album of the Year. Daft Punk, Random Access Memories, the best rap album to Macklemore's best rap album to Macklemore and Ryan Lewis. The Heist in 2014, Pimp a Butterfly defeats Taylor Swift's 1989, which, I mean, really? Pimp a Butterfly lost to Taylor Swift? I mean, to me, anyways. So, and then Damns lost to Bruno Mars 24 Karat Magic in 2018. See, like, there's a lot of notable snubs out there. They're not all between, like, a white person and a black person. SZA's lost to Taylor Swift's Midnight in 2024, which was just a freaking rewrite of a freaking album that she did, or something like that. I don't listen to Taylor Swift, obviously. So others have argued that non-white artists mostly win in smaller racialized categories. Beyonce has her 32 awards within genre-specific categories such as rap and R&B, categories that people of color primarily dominate. Ann Powers, an accredited writer from the National Public Radio, accused the 2017 Grammys Awards of systemic racism due to Chance the Rapper and Beyonce being the only black artists who won televised awards. According to Powers, there is a general notion that music was made with real instrumental instrumentation and is superior to synth or sampled music. Artists' dance-level performances are abstaining to performances that incorporate dances. The Grammy has also been criticized in the past for failing to nominate famous artists of color, such as The Weeknd. The Academy's failure to nominate The Weeknd's work came as a major surprise considering the widespread success of 2020 album After Hours and its single Blinding Lights. The track set numerous records, including spending 40 weeks with the top 10 in the U.S., 4 of which the song was at number 1, and spending 28 weeks in the top 5. After receiving no nominations from the Recording Academy, The Weeknd wrote the Grammys remain corrupt. You may owe me fans and industry transparency. So yeah, obviously the voting process for the Grammys has been much criticized over the years. The voting committee has made up of hundreds of musical experts, including musicians, producers, engineers, songwriters. Members of the Recording Academy will submit their picks for nominations, and will be screened by 350 individuals to ensure that the nominee is placed in the correct category and eligible to potential award. So yeah, obviously, if you want to read this article, you can do it. I'll put all these in the link in the description. So yeah, there's been a lot of controversy in the Grammys. So this is the article that I was referencing earlier. So this is by Sheldon Rochaleel. Are the Grammys racist? And basically she breaks down all of the different categories, like the Recording Academy, and then she'll do Record of the Year. So this is one I kind of found was interesting. All in all, 17 black artists have won this category. That means that the black African American represents 28.8% of all winners in this categories. However, those odds do not seem great until one compares the win rate to population demographic in the United States. According to obviously this has changed since 2010, but the white population accounts for 72%. The black African American accounts for 12% of the entire U.S. population, according to the statistic. Black African American winners are overrepresented in this category. And then obviously they show the 17 winners who have won the Record of the Year. You can just so that. So Song of the Year. Only 7 songs written by black African American artists have won this category. Therefore, that means 11.8% of the winners in this category have been African American. Black African American winners are slightly underrepresented in this category based on the U.S. population demographic. So yeah, Michael Jackson, Bobby McFerrin, Seal, Gordon Kennedy, Alicia Keys, Richard Marx, Luther Vandross, and Thaddeus Harold, and Beyonce. I like how they put Beyonce's full government name. So, and then Album of the Year. So this is therefore, it means that 22% of the winners in this category are black African American artists are therefore overrepresented in this category based on the 2010 U.S. Census. So they're kind of just doing it based off the population numbers and not just like the overall artists that have won. They're just doing based off population and like I guess the odds of them winning based off of the white versus black population in the United States. First Grammy ceremony in 1959, the award was not presented in 1967 and was revoked and not awarded in 1990. When Millie Vanilli was asked to return the award for defrauding the music industry, that means that award has only been presented 57 times. This category, black African American winners have won 13 times, which means they represent 22% of winners in this category. Therefore, that means that black African are also overrepresented. But yeah, so it's just kind of breaking down like the facts, I guess, the numbers and everything like that. So the numbers look even better when you look at the top overall winning artists in the history of the Grammy Awards. 5 of the top 17 winners of all time are black African American winners. 29% of the top winning artists. So we have Quincy Jones, Stevie Wonder, Beyonce, Kanye, and Jay-Z. Together, these 5 artists own 113 Grammy Awards, and husband and wife team Jay-Z and Beyonce own a combined 43 Grammys. When considering an all-time winning female artist, 10 of the top 19 females are black African American. And then Beyonce, Aretha Franklin, Alicia Keys, Ella Fitzgerald, Latone Price, Shirley, Chaka Khan, CeCe, Mary J. Blige, and Natalie Cole. The female artists have combined won a total of 130 Grammys and represent 52%, over half of the top female winners. So there's some, it's kind of all opinionative. I think it's just like searching. So yeah. So this person's conclusion said they, based on research and figures I identified, I do not believe the Grammys are racist. Then you can like discuss like people, you know, comment on her page, like her little blog and stuff like that. So I think it's just like, obviously with the Hot 97 video, it was talking about how there's just been certain snubs within like certain categories, depending if you look on who is matched up against each other, which I kind of thought was interesting when the guy said that year when people won, they had like a song with a white artist. So I don't know, man. He was getting onto something. But so if we look in more recent years, and we go to the Grammy 2 years ago, 2024. So Jay-Z made a high-profile return to the Grammys at the 2024 ceremony, accepting the Dr. Drake Global Impact Award alongside his daughter Blue Ivy. During his speech, he candidly criticized the Recording Academy for the historically overlooking black artists, specifically pointing out his wife Beyonce, who has never won Album of the Year despite the most Grammy wins in history. Which, I mean, imagine you have 32 Grammys, but like the one that you really want is you want the album of the year, because that's like the whole album is just fire. So here's his longer version.
I want to embarrass this young lady, but she has more Grammys than everyone and never won Album of the Year. So even by your own metrics, that doesn't work. Think about that. The most Grammys, never won Album of the Year. That doesn't work. You know, some of you gonna go home tonight and feel like you've been robbed. Some of you may get robbed. Some of you don't belong in the category. Now, when I get nervous, I tell the truth.
So thank you so much for giving me a chance to win a VMA award.
I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
You've probably seen that video before, but there's a lot of like hidden theories about that. Which, I mean, there's a lot of things that happen in the celebrity world that, like, you know, they have their own things going on. But anyways, back to the topic. So it is Black History Month, obviously, and this is from a few years ago. So these are black artists who were snubbed by the Grammys. So the Grammys is also known for recognizing outstanding achievement in the music industry for the music big night of the music industry. However, black artists' work is often overlooked. Despite black artists continuing to create the blueprint for music industry time and time again, they were robbed of recognition they deserved at the award show. So we have Frank Ocean. In 2013, the band Fun snagged the Grammy Award for Best New Artist, leaving Frank Ocean snubbed. Which, Frank Ocean, we're still waiting for him to come out with some new stuff. And obviously, Kendrick Lamar, 2014, Beyonce, 2017, The Weeknd, and I think The Weeknd has actually boycotted the Grammy since then. Nicki Minaj, skip. Yeah, so there's been a lot of artists who have boycotted the Grammys. Morgan Wallen, Tiana Taylor, more stars who boycotted and criticized the Grammys over the years. So over the years, Jay-Z, Ariana Grande, Will Smith, and more have chosen to boycott the show, while many others have spoken out about how they don't approve about the show. From how the songs are categorized to how corrupt the voting system is and how unbelievable some snubs really are, it's clear that the Grammys are fraught with issues. So obviously in 2024, Jay-Z returned, which we all know, of course, that he returned. So here we go. So The Weeknd, ahead of the 2021 Grammy Awards, The Weeknd wasn't shy about showing his frustrations and not being nominated for a single category despite his chart-topping album After Hours releasing that year. I was a sucker punch as an analogy, he told the Billboard later in this year, because it just kind of hit me out of nowhere. I felt things. I don't know what if it was sadness or anger. I think it was just confusion. I just wanted answers, like what happened. We did everything right, I think. You're like, you have such a good song and you think you're gonna win, and then you don't, and you're like, what the heck, like what is happening, like why did I not win? So I hope that you guys learned something in this episode. I was just kind of talking, trying to share some information from my perspective, obviously, I don't know everything. I kind of just like read stuff to you guys and kind of, I want you guys to kind of research these things on your own and learn some stuff, because there's a lot of things going on right now, and when we're living in the past, we can forget. I know, as we're living in the present, we can forget the past of things that happened, and we gotta learn from the past so that it doesn't repeat itself again. And that was kind of just my way of showing you guys this in something that I enjoy, the music industry. And obviously, there's a lot of people who don't even watch the Grammys. They could care less, but it's just something that I think mattered to me. Is just to go through the history and the dark history of the Grammys, because they're trying to kind of change it a little bit now, but you got to go back to know how we got here. So there's just a lot of things that are like that in the world, and even in this country, that's just getting erased. And it's important not to forget those events that is kind of like the hidden dark things that we try to sweep under the rug, but lift up that rug and find out this information, because there's a lot of racism still in this country and things like that, and it's important that we look back at the history so it doesn't repeat itself, which it seems like we're going down a trend where things are trying to repeat themselves. So let's learn from the past. And this has been another edition of Matt's Matters with me, your host, Matt Benson. I hope you guys learned something today. I definitely learned something every time I do an episode, and I just want to share that with you guys. So make sure you tune in next week to see what matters to me, Matt Benson. And yeah, guys, love and peace always.